Synergy Jeep JK and JKU front track bar and sector shaft brace for the 2007 to 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK and JKU. Installation begins by removing the track bar. This can be done with the vehicle on the ground in order to keep the weight of the vehicle on and the track bar in the right location. If the bolt is still under tension, use a ratchet strap to pull on the axle left or right. You can also do this by using the steering wheel. With the track bar removed, raise and support the front axle or lift the whole vehicle off the ground on a lift. It's not necessary to remove the driver's side front tire, but it does help with the installation, so we went ahead and removed the driver's side front tire. Unbolt or disconnect the front sway bar links from the axle, and then swing the sway bar and sway bar links out of the way. Use a 1 5/16 socket to remove the factory Pitman arm nut and lock washer. The Pitman arm is a tapered spline fit on the sector shaft and should not come off. Apply some of the thread locker to the threads, use a 42mm socket, and install the new Pitman arm nut without the lock washer. Note the correct orientation of the nut. If you have a PSC big bore steering box, you will need the 8869-10 Pitman arm nut and torque the nut to 185 foot-pounds. Use an 18mm socket and remove all 4 bolts holding the steering box on. The box will drop slightly and rest against the top of the frame once all the bolts are out. Slide the Synergy track bar brace up from the bottom over the factory track bar mount. Use the track bar bolt to hold the brace loosely in place. The key to bolting the track bar brace on is to get all the bolts that hold it in loosely in place before you tighten any of them. You will have to lift the steering box slightly to get the steering box bolt started. It's easier to start with the front lower bolt than the rear lower bolt to get the box and frame holes lined up correctly. Install one 1/2 inch by 1 inch long bolt and 1/2 inch washer into the upper side hole on the track bar bracket. Use one 1/2 inch top lock and 1/2 inch washer on the inside mount. Do not tighten yet. Install another 1/2 inch 1 inch long bolt in the bottom side hole on the track bar bracket. Install the bolt so the head is on the inside of the factory track bar mount and the threads come out the side of the Synergy track bar brace. Put a 1/2 inch washer and 1/2 inch top lock nut on the outside. Begin tightening hardware, starting with the upper 1/2 inch side bolt to 60 foot-pounds, then the lower 1/2 inch bolt to 60 foot-pounds. Then the 4 steering box bolts to 87 foot-pounds. Slide the new sealed bearing sector shaft brace up between the ears on the Synergy track bar brace and over the Pitman arm nut. Note that there should be a small gap between the ears and the steel block to allow for variances in fitment. These will close when the hardware is tightened. If using a PSC big bore steering box, you will need to use the 8069-0214S sector shaft brace bearing mount instead. Slide the 3/8/16 by 4 1/4 long bolt with washer through the front of the track bar mount, into the bearing block and through the back ear of the track bar mount. Thread on the 3/8/16 top lock nut and washer, and then tighten to 44 foot-pounds. Remove the track bar bolt. Put the front wheels back on and lower the vehicle to the ground. Torque the lug nuts to 120 foot-pounds. With the weight of the vehicle back on the ground, reinstall the track bar and the included M14 by 80mm bolt and 14mm washer through the front of the track bar brace, and the 14mm washer and M14 top lock nut on the back side. Note, you'll notice that the track bar is no longer the factory track bar. This is the Synergy Aftermarket track bar. The Synergy Aftermarket track bar allows you to fit 0 inches of bump spacing, so if you have a stock Jeep and want to have this kit, you'll have to run our track bar. If you're running a stock track bar, you're going to have to install 2 inches of bump spacing at a minimum. Otherwise, the sector shaft brace will come into contact with the factory track bar. Tighten the track bar bolt to 125 foot-pounds. Realign the sway bar and reattach the sway bar end links to the lower axle mount. If using the OEM sway bar, tighten the bolts to 75 foot-pounds. If using the Synergy Quick Disconnect sway bar links, simply reinstall the sway bar links. Installation is now complete. For more information about this product or other Synergy products, visit us at synergymfg.com.